Good day, everybody. In my quest to find a brave, fresh new topic today, I asked my family if they had any good ideas. They came up with the word complicit. I had no clue what this word meant, but I nodded knowingly, as if I did. Without even knowing it, I was being slightly complicit. With the aid of the Oxford Dictionary, I can now tell you that complicit is defined as being involved with others in an unlawful or immorally wrong act. At the heart of complicity lies silence, and it is this silence which gives consent. I believe that, like lying, there are degrees of complicity. There are the little white lies of complicity, where we turn a somewhat harmless blind eye. And at the other extreme, there are the horrific evils born from an entire society's silence. School is a great breeding ground for complicity. I am sure the number of tests that have been written where students have come out boastfully saying they have cheated is too many to count on one hand. And yes, this might be minor cheating. And yes, it's not an exam. But at what point do we say cheating is cheating? And why is it somehow clever to get away with cheating on a test, but we would be ashamed to cheat on the sports field? I think about this often, and I think it might have something to do with the fact that cheating on a test feels like beating the system, whereas cheating on the sports field feels like cheating on your mates. And that is just not on. Because at school, friendship and the brotherhood are everything. Why are we complicit? I think it's because we really just want to fit in. Our happiness depends on belonging. Mix together with the human weaknesses of laziness and greed, and you create a cancerous cocktail. It also gets very confusing trying to decide when it's right to mind your own business and give freedom of choice. I have to tell you, I despise vaping. We've all been led to believe that it's a healthy alternative to smoking, but research is increasingly showing that vaping causes inflammation to the lungs and can cause lung disease. Vaping-associated lung injuries now even have a name. The condition is known as EVALI. I suppose when it comes down to it, it's people's choice to vape. And this can work, as long as it's an informed choice, which it often is not. Because in the big world of tobacco, the truth isn't always easy to find. The line between complicity and freedom of choice is often grey. But some decisions are easy. I would like to think that everybody would report a murder, witnessing child abuse and domestic violence. The one thing people are never complicit about is whether pineapple belongs on a pizza. Everybody gives their 2 cents about that. Edmund Burke famously said, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." This is probably the worst form of complicity, and we only need to look back on history to the evils of Nazi Germany and apartheid to know this is true. And it is true. We've all had to deal with a bully or two in our lives. I've probably had it easier than most, because God was not going for the small look when He made me. But I know there are kids whose lives have been terrorized by physical or cyberbullying. And there are many of us good boys who have stood by and done nothing. The worst moments are those times when we know something wrong is happening, but we fear breaking a friend's trust and request for privacy if we approach an adult for help. But once we know there's a problem, once we know there's an act of injustice, we are involved. I'm not saying I always know how to handle these situations, or that there is only one way to handle these situations. But when do we decide that it is better to scream rather than to continue our complicit silence? For me, I think it gets back to the degrees of complicity. The worse the injustice, the greater the need to break the silence of the act. So much of what we do is driven by our need to belong. Maybe we need to take a long-term view of the society we belong to and work towards belonging to a better society. Our silence will not protect us. So why not try to influence that section of society we currently find ourselves in? For me, for where I am right now, this translates to one thought. Why not break the bro code? It might make for a better brotherhood in the future.